Welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled you're joining us today because we're about to dive into something that is literally going to transform how you host. We are looking at the ultimate, completely stress-free guide to building a diverse, flavor-packed dinner party menu. And we're doing it by focusing on one magical culinary element, the sauce. We've pulled directly from 6 incredible, globally inspired sauce recipes to help you build an entire hosting experience. So if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by timing or flavor pairings, or just the pure chaos of a busy kitchen while your guests are waiting, this explainer is exactly what you need.
Here's the game plan for our menu today. We're starting with spicy starters and dips, moving right into main course masterpieces, then we'll look at versatile sauce staples and wrap it all up with master sauce techniques. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Spicy starters and dips. Time to wake up that palate.
Our first recipe is the piquant Thai dipping sauce. And the text specifically notes this is best when served with chilled shrimp. Let me tell you, kicking things off with a cold appetizer is an absolute game changer. It's a massive stress reliever because you can prep the whole thing long before your guests even ring the doorbell.
Let's break down exactly how this sauce comes together. It's basically a 3-part harmony. First, you've got this incredibly aromatic flavor base: mint, garlic, some lime peel, chili sauce, and brown sugar. Then you bring in the liquids, which are lime and tomato juice. Finally, the thickener. You actually boil the base and the liquids together, and then use a cold slurry, just cornstarch and ice water, to lightly thicken it up. Oh, and here's the absolute secret for that elegant, professional presentation. Pass the whole mixture through a fine sieve right into a bowl and let it chill for 10 minutes. Super smooth and super easy.
All right, moving right along to our second starter, the New Mexico green sauce. Now this one does require a little bit of hands-on prep with fresh peppers. Step 1, you've got to roast your poblano chilies. Once they're fully roasted, you peel them, take out the seeds, and chop them up finely. You'll actually do the same seeding and chopping for a jalapeno too. This roasting and peeling technique is absolutely crucial, guys. It breaks down that tough outer skin and really unlocks this deep, amazing smoky flavor from the peppers. Once you've got those 4 poblanos prepped, the assembly is a total breeze. You just combine them with that seeded jalapeno plus your aromatics, a large finely chopped onion, and a finely chopped clove of garlic. Toss in 2 tablespoons of veggie oil and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. But here is the wild part, the real twist: half a cup of whipped cream. I know, whipped cream, but trust the process here. This rich, luxurious texture perfectly balances out the spicy, smoky kick of those roasted peppers.
Section 2. Main course masterpieces. Let's elevate the main event.
This next dish is phenomenal because it brilliantly marries 2 classic flavor profiles to create an Alfredo pesto base. First, you pulse together a vibrant pesto in your food processor using a cup of fresh basil, 2 cloves of garlic, 1/3 of a cup of walnuts, 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, and a 1/2 cup of Parmesan. Then you build a cream base. You take a cup of whipped cream, add some salt and pepper, heat it up, and whisk that fresh pesto right in. Toss all that creamy, nutty goodness with another 1/2 cup of Parmesan and your freshly cooked pasta. It sounds really fancy, but it's just 2 simple, highly structured steps. Now, if seafood is on the menu, you have got to try the horseradish Moret sauce. It is such a bright, tangy alternative. You literally just whisk together 2 teaspoons of horseradish, a 1/4 cup of low-fat mayo, a 1/4 cup of plain non-fat yogurt, 1½ teaspoons of lemon juice, and a 1.5 teaspoons of chopped chives. That's it. Cover it, pop it in the fridge to chill, and it does its thing completely out of your way while you focus on the fish.
And speaking of the main dish, let's look at the perfect prep timeline for poached salmon to pair with that horseradish sauce. Keeping your kitchen stress-free is the whole goal today, right? So at minute 0, you get your aromatics going. Boil water with a sliced lemon, carrots, celery, onion, and a teaspoon of peppercorns. At the 10-minute mark, reduce it to a simmer and carefully add your 4-ounce salmon steaks. At 20 minutes, cover it and keep it simmering. Finally, at 30 minutes, pull it off the heat and let it stand for exactly 8 minutes. Boom! Perfect, predictable timing every single time.
Section 3. Versatile sauce staples. These are the dynamic base builders you'll definitely want on standby.
Our first staple is this deeply complex peanut chili sauce, and you build this one in very distinct stages. First up, sauté your ginger, garlic, and scallions in 1/2 teaspoon of peanut oil to really unlock those aromatics. Next, you build the base with 1/2 cup of broth, a teaspoon of dark brown sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of soy sauce. Then comes the heat. Toss in a serrano chili, some red pecans, and a pepper. Let that simmer and thicken up. Then finish it off by stirring in a 1/4 cup of peanut butter and the juice of 1/2 lime. The flavor profile is just out of this world.
Next up is the New Age cream sauce, and I've got a really crucial piece of advice for you here. As your sauce starts thickening over medium heat, you absolutely must lower the temperature and add your milk gradually. And make sure you are stirring frequently. That is the golden rule to avoid any lump formation and keep the sauce beautifully velvety.
Section 4. Master Sauce Techniques. Let's dive into the actual science behind what we've been making.
So let's compare the two main ways we properly thickened our sauces today. For the Pekong Thai sauce, we used a slurry, meaning we combined a tablespoon of cornstarch with a tablespoon of ice water before introducing it to the heat. That gives you a lighter, kind of translucent finish that is perfect for a dipping sauce. Contrast that with the New Age cream sauce, where we used a traditional roux. We melted 2 tablespoons of margarine and whisked in 2 tablespoons of flour. That creates a much heavier, opaque, incredibly rich base. Knowing exactly when to use a clear cornstarch slurry versus a hearty flour base is really what separates a good cook from a master host.
Well, we have covered it all, from the exact timelines for perfectly poached salmon to the science behind cornstarch versus flour thickeners. You've got the ultimate stress-free blueprint for your next dinner party right here in your hands. So the only question left for you is which of these incredible global sauces is going to anchor your next menu. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.